Hey there, suppose you need to get a file or a group of files to someone but it's too big to email. What can you do? With Gmail, Google sets a size limit of 25 megabytes, and if you try to send more than that, it tells you have to do it with Google Drive. In case you don't know what that is or what it does, I'm about to show you. Just do what you would normally do to send an email. It works pretty much the same way as normal. You attach a file, you wait for it to upload, and then you're going to press send. But you do get an extra option or two. It'll ask you how much access you want to give people to the file that you just put into the internet. View only is a good starting point. The other person can't delete it by mistake and make you do the upload again. Once you choose that, you just click send to send it like a normal email. Over at the other person's end, they get your email, and in that email is a link they can click to get the file, the same as a regular attachment. There's also this Save to Drive button, which I'll get to in a minute. If we click the attachment, our browser will open the link and give us the file. This file is an MP3, which is audio, so it starts playing. We can also download the file just like any attachment. I'm sure you know how that works. Pick a place to save it on your computer or pick an app to open it with once it's downloaded. But since we're talking about Google's Drive feature, let's take note of this extra thing the recipient can do with the file. If you click Save to Drive, then it goes into this online storage space Google sets aside for each Gmail account. It's free and it's there automatically. At this point, it might not be clear what organize means. Basically, it's gone into a folder that's on Google's computer across the internet, but you, the Gmail user, effectively own that storage space. The easiest way to get to it is this button here, which means Apps. Let's click Drive, which is just like Dropbox or Microsoft's OneDrive. This is the first time I've used the Drive for this account, so we get welcome messages. But what we're looking at here is a folder full of files. We've got a PDF here from Google, How to Get Started, which I'm not going to read out to you now. And we've got our audio file that I shared to this guy before. Remember, this is the recipient's Google Drive we're looking at. One thing you can do is make a folder to put all the files of one type. I'll call it Podcasts, and drag the audio file into that folder, just like you would do to move files around on your computer in Windows File Explorer or in Finder if you use a Mac. Then I can double click the folder to go in there and see that the file is organized into that folder. So far so good. Right click it and you see all the things you can do with the file. The most important thing to be able to do is of course to download it. Now looking back at the sender's Gmail account, I want to show you that both of you now have access to the same file. Again, we click the Apps button, click Drive, and we get taken to the cloud storage space for this Gmail user. The file this guy attached to the email he was sending got put into this space, so we see it here among his other stuff. There's another way to give people a file once the file is in your Google Drive. You can right-click the thing and click Share. Up the top is the link we sent in the email before. I'm not going to do the same thing again. Down here, if I put a specific Gmail address in, that's a different thing to do, which gives that user access to the file from within their drive. By default, this gives them editing permission, which is more control, but you could change that by clicking the pencil button to the right of their email address. So let's go and see what that looked like to the recipient. They get an email notifying them that a file is now available to them through their Google Drive. The email is pretty similar. There's a link straight to the file, which does what you'd expect. Same as before, it opens the file. Here we see it starts playing the audio. But it also means that they can go into their drive and find the file there. Now, it's the exact same file. I've already organized it into the podcasts folder, but new files you get this way start out in the Shared with Me section, which you see at the left side of the screen. Let's take a look at this file by right-clicking and picking Details. This is like Properties in Windows or Get Info in OS X. So we see when and how the file got here, and we see the size of the file, whether it takes up your storage space or the owner's, and what file type it is. So that's the basic idea of how to share larger files than you can normally email. What you might like to do with really large files is leave them uploading overnight, in which case it helps to have the Google Drive app installed on your computer. Also, it will pay just to ask the other person if they're going to be okay with you sharing a file like that. Sometimes if someone has to share an internet connection with other people, for example, they might not want to handle a 1 gigabyte download. It can be better to send a memory stick. But this feature that I'm showing you today can still save a bunch of time if the situation calls for it. So hopefully that's given you some ideas and you now have an easier way to do things. Thanks for watching.